The moment the cabin door sealed, the atmosphere shifted, subtle, tense, almost electric, though no one could name why. Marcus Ellison, dressed in a charcoal hoodie and worn jeans, took his aisle seat in business class with the quiet confidence of a man used to being overlooked. He didn't mind invisibility. Life had taught him it was often the best vantage point. But the passengers around him didn't see confidence. They saw assumptions waiting to be made. The woman beside him clutched her purse closer. A man across the aisle frowned openly, scanning Marcus from shoes to hair like he was inspecting a mistake. And when the lead flight attendant, Diana, approached with a tight smile, her eyes flicked to his boarding pass only long enough to pretend she'd checked it. "Sir, I believe you may be in the wrong section," she said, voice dipped in polite venom. Before Marcus could speak, the man across the aisle chimed in. "I'm sure he just walked into the wrong cabin. Happens a lot." A few passengers chuckled, soft but sharp enough to cut. Marcus stayed still, letting the moment unfold like a scene he'd seen 100 times. Diana asked again, more forcefully, "Sir, please show me your real ticket." He handed it to her, business class, fully paid. But she didn't even read it. She didn't want to. "I'll need to verify with the captain," she said, turning as if it were settled. Marcus exhaled slowly, a single breath holding years of practiced patience. And that was the exact moment a vibration buzzed against his leg, a confirmation text. A message that, if revealed now, would detonate the entire flight at once. But Marcus closed the notification and slipped the phone away. Not yet. Let the assumptions build. Let the tension tighten. Let them dig the hole deeper. The story was only beginning, and the cabin had no idea it was moments away from collapsing into stunned silence. 20 minutes into the air, the pressure erupted. Diana returned with the co-pilot. The captain didn't have time to handle what she called a seating discrepancy, and the co-pilot signaled for Marcus to stand. "Sir, we're going to escort you to economy until we can resolve this properly," he said, as if offering mercy. Marcus didn't move. The man across the aisle scoffed loudly. "Just follow directions. You people always make everything harder." A woman 2 rows ahead muttered, "No wonder they checked him." Whispers puffed through the cabin like poison clouds, ugly, casual, confident, all riding on a single assumption, that he didn't belong here. Marcus lifted his gaze at last, calm as still water. "Before you escalate this," he said evenly, "ask yourself one question. Are you absolutely certain you want to take this route?" The co-pilot bristled, mistaking Marcus's warning for defiance. "Sir, if you don't comply, we'll have authorities meet you when we land." The passengers perked up, hungry for the spectacle. Diana pressed closer, whispering, "Just move before you embarrass yourself." But they had no idea that Marcus wasn't resisting. He was waiting for the exact moment when ignorance peaked, so the fall would land twice as hard. Finally, Marcus reached into his backpack and pulled out a thick, sealed folder embossed with the gold emblem of Sierra Aero Holdings, the powerful private aviation group he led. He slid out a packet of documents and placed them in the co-pilot's hands. The co-pilot scanned the first page, then the second. His face drained. His breath hitched. His hands began to shake, because printed clearly, stamped and verified less than an hour earlier, was a completed purchase agreement. Sierra Aero Holdings had acquired Skyspan Airlines, every route, every crew member, every aircraft, including the one they were flying right now. And the buyer, the new owner, was Marcus Ellison. The cabin fell into a vacuum of silence. Diana staggered backwards, mouth opening, then snapping shut. The man across the aisle dropped his phone. And Marcus finally broke the tension with 7 words delivered soft enough to chill every spine in earshot. I own this plane. As of today. The co-pilot sprinted to the cockpit. Within a minute, the captain emerged, red-faced, panicked, stumbling over apologies. Diana's voice cracked as she whispered, I didn't know. The passengers stared at Marcus as if witnessing a myth, some trying to shrink into their seats, others frozen in the shame of what they'd said. But Marcus didn't rise, didn't scold, didn't raise his voice. He simply looked around the cabin, at every face that had underestimated him, belittled him, reduced him to a stereotype before he'd spoken a single word. You weren't supposed to know, he said quietly, but you were supposed to treat me with dignity anyway. Diana's lip trembled as she apologized. The man across the aisle shrank into his seat, whispering, I made a mistake. Marcus studied him for a long, heavy moment. The mistake, he said, was assuming you could measure someone's worth by what you think you see. He turned to the cabin at large. Every passenger watched, breathless, waiting for judgment. Let this be a reminder, Marcus said, voice soft but resonant, that respect should never depend on status, and that the person you dismiss today may be the person who owns the space you stand in tomorrow. The words settled like gravity. No one looked away. No one dared to speak. When Marcus finally leaned back in his seat, reclaiming the space that had always been his, the cabin moved with newfound quiet. Careful, humbled, forever changed. Even the air felt different, heavier with truth, lighter with possibility, charged with the echo of a lesson they'd never forget. If this story hit you somewhere deep, if it made you pause, reflect, maybe even feel uncomfortable in the best possible way, then I need to hear your voice. Stories like this aren't just about airplanes or CEOs or dramatic moments. They're about something far bigger. The assumptions we make, the judgments we cast, and the quiet harm we do when we decide who belongs and who doesn't based on race, appearance, or stereotypes. So tell me in the comments, have you ever been judged before you even opened your mouth? Have you watched someone else get treated as less than because of the way they look? Your words matter. Your experience matters. Sharing your story helps expose the small injustices that add up to something much larger. And it helps others see the world with clearer eyes. And if this video made you rethink anything, if it challenged the way you see people, if it reminded you that respect should not be reserved for the wealthy, the polished, or the expected, then share this video with someone who needs that reminder. Send it, post it, spread the message. And if you want more powerful, emotional, true-to-life stories that confront prejudice head-on, that expose the subtle ways racism shows up in daily life, and that remind us that dignity should be given freely, not earned, then hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join this community. We're building something real here, something meaningful, a space where stories spark conversation, conversation sparks awareness, and awareness sparks change. Thank you for watching, for feeling, and for being part of a movement that insists on respect, no matter who, no matter where, no matter what.